growing creative infrastructure, you have to grow creative infrastructure to match the growth of the city. Denver, go check out Denver. They've done a great job. But we wanted to feature today some ideas that are out there of varying levels of completion, varying sizes and scale. This is a large-scale vision that we're going to show you right now, and it is a long-term thing, too. It's got short, midterm, and long-term needs, but I want to highlight it as an example of how we should be thinking collectively. You know, Austin's changing. The state is letting go of some of its land. AISD is changing its infrastructure, less schools in the central city, more on the edges as the population profiles change. A lot of property is shifting, and we want to be at the table for those conversations, and we want to be able to show the larger community how vital it is that we be in play for these pieces of land. So there's a really interesting one that actually Kathy Tovo's office sent me toward, and I want to introduce Debbie Kizer from Imagine ART to talk about her project, smARTown.
My name is Debbie Kizer, and I'm the founder and executive director of Imagine ART. And I'm here today to talk to you about a project called smARTown. So Imagine ART's been operating in Austin for 20 years. And during this time, we've been serving a very distinct group of people, that's artists that have disabilities. We have since opened up our services to serve artists without disabilities. We found that they have very many of the same needs that artists that have disabilities have. And so we've invited them into our space and our services. The organization is unique in the fact that it's a ministry, and our mission is to restore the lives of artists for the glory of God. So practically, this looks like us providing art space. Is this working? We have a 10,000 square foot space off of Manor on Real, off of MLK. And we offer materials and equipment and artistic directors and opportunities for exhibition. 2 years ago, Imagine Art came to a crossroads about space ourselves. We were paying $30,000 and leasing a portion of a building. The main tenants were leaving the space, and we looked to relocate, but the options were not affordable, and nor were they appropriate. And so we decided to take the lease after significant struggle on our board and trying to determine if we had the capacity to do that. Our $30,000 commitment quickly rose to a $100,000 commitment annually as we took that space. And I learned how to lead an organization from my knees. So 2 years later, our space is a thriving, let me catch up with myself here. Our space is a thriving organization. And we have 65 artists that use our facility each week. We've discovered creative ways to leverage public dollars to meet basic needs of artists in our city. Imagine Art has become the only free public art space in the city. Artists come to access open studio spaces and equipment. They come to rehearse, produce, exhibit, and perform. So I'm just going to show off here for a minute. So these are some of the works that have been created in our studio. Imagine Art is primarily serving visual artists, but we have a lot of different things going on in our building, including theater and music and some movement. So something else happened 2 years ago that expanded our vision, and that something was Donald. So Donald is a visual artist. He arrived at our facility with an entourage of 6 people. And I thought, wow, this guy must be a VIP. This guy, I learned, was a resident at the Austin State Supported Living Center. It's a 100-year-old institution that housed people with significant disabilities. Donald lived in the institution for 60 years. That's what I said, 60 years. Donald's arrival woke our community to the daily reality of institutional living and the plight of people with disabilities in our city. Donald has since left the institution, and because Donald's an artist, we became his place and we became his community. So Imagine Art looked towards this system of state-supported living centers, and we realized that a perfect storm was brewing in the city of Austin. The Sunset Commission had just released notice to close the Austin institution. making their recommendation to the 84th legislative session. Families began advocating to maintain services, stating that community options did not meet their needs. The Texas Land Commission recommended closure, and private developers began eyeing the land. All the while, the Department of Justice is daily monitoring activities on the state-supported living centers facilities due to settlement agreements in response to abuse and neglect issues. Today, the state of Texas is spending over $63 million annually to maintain 13 state-supported living centers in our state. And living in these state-supported living centers is a total of 1,300 people. So do the math on that. 192 of these people are living in Austin's core, located at Mopac and 35th Street. The people living within the facility have been hidden like a treasure. They're not called citizens of Austin. Only a single piece of paper exists in the Austin History Museum to tell their story. There's an old parable that tells a story of a man who found a treasure in a field. He went and sold everything that he had to go and buy that field. The 93-acre campus is 100 years old, and many of the buildings are closed due to inaccessibility, asbestos, and falling structures. Most look at the Austin State Supported Living Center and they see the value of the land as a treasure. Some see the rich landscape and they envision commercial development to add to the urban sprawl that we're already seeing in Austin. Imagine Art looks towards the land and we recognize the people as the treasure, and the land as an opportunity and a tool to restore the people. So Imagine Art began to have vision for the revitalization of the land and its people. I want you to take a moment just to imagine with me. Imagine the artist of Austin turning to see this people group in their need. Imagine the artists of Austin bringing their gifts, their passion, and their beauty into a place that needs renovation and innovation, life, creativity. Imagine the artists of Austin seeking the welfare within their own city and then finding home through the development of affordable housing and art space. smARTown proposes to lead the way in bringing together stakeholders for conversation about the Austin State Supported Living Center and its future. Together with Land Design Studio, we believe that art has the power to break old patterns of conversations between stakeholders and opposing interest. We envision creative public charrettes that welcome stakeholders to share fears, their hopes, their ideas. And in your packet, you'll find a summary of our vision, the goals, and its impact. Our short-term goal is to establish a working relationship with DADS and Health and Human Services. We're seeking opportunity to demonstrate our vision on a small scale on the land. Our mid-range goal is to earn the right to facilitate a master plan for this people group in their land. And our long-range goal is to establish place where the creatives of Austin can find both home and purpose, and where the residents of the Austin State Supported Living Center can be woven into the daily life of Austin's creative scene. So the community of Imagine Art is a small player in smARTown, but we can see a bigger picture, and we want to help others to be able to see with us. We aim to cast our vision to anyone that has the ears to hear it or the eyes to see it, and our hope is that others will catch the vision with us and will run with us. So thank you so much.
So yeah, that's an example of the kind of long-term thinking we should be doing, and we see in other cities like the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust or the Denver Theater District. Debbie's program is amazing. I went over there as soon as I met with Kathy Tovo's office and they told me about it. I drove right over there and just walked in, and it was super welcoming. And where's Lacey? You still here? So this is Lacey Richter. She's a visual artist, and she and I are talking, and I've got my hands like this. I'm not, and this short guy comes up, and he comes up next to me, and he's like, he's mocking me a little bit. And then he said some things in an unintelligible language I learned later was his own. And then he put his arms out to hug me. And I had no second thought. I just hugged the guy. And that's the vibe at Imagine Art. And then I was there again a few weeks later, and he recognized me and remembered me, and I got another hug. It's a really, really special place. So thank you, Debbie.